Hi everybody, welcome back. This is Kim. Today is going to be a different kind of video. Today is the day I celebrate my 26th anniversary of the removal of my cancer. I'm going to be reading this because I want to make sure I cover everything that I wanted to say. So I'm going to be looking at this paper right here, not at the camera, but hopefully you'll forgive me for that. Anyways, I'm also wearing my sunglasses because in case I start crying, I don't want that to be on the camera. Anyways, I feel so blessed. 26-year cancer survivor is a pretty big deal. I know that many others have lost their fight to cancer, and that makes me so sad. But there are lots of us who have fought and won. Even all these years later, it's a very emotional day for me. You know what? Before we get started, can you please subscribe to my channel? I really appreciate that. That would mean a lot to me. And if you enjoy this video, also please give me a thumbs up. I'm going to be reading my notes so I stay on track, like I said. So yes, 20 years ago today was the day I heard those dreaded words, "You have cancer." I went into the hospital originally thinking they were doing surgery to remove a cyst. Well, I woke up from recovery to see my husband crying. He doesn't ever cry, so I knew something was dreadfully wrong. Shortly after that, my doctor came in and explained that they had found a tumor on my bladder. He thinks he got it all, but that I would need to see an oncologist to follow up. What? How can that be? Oh my gosh, am I going to die? You know, these are the thoughts that go through your head when someone tells you that. It was so out of the blue. I didn't drink. I didn't smoke. There's no cancer history in my family. It was just, it was shocking. Turns out I had advanced stage adenocarcinoma of the bladder, urachal. It's a very rare cancer, one that is typically only found in older men. How did I get it? I have no idea. If you want to hear the whole story about the cancer and what treatment I had and etc., I'll be glad to tell it. Just let me know in the comments. And also stay tuned later in this video because I'm going to give you an honest, raw list of things to do and not to do if someone you love has cancer. I came up with this list based on my experience and my feelings. So anyways, in this video today, I'm not going to give a ton of details about my cancer or my treatment. Today I'll be giving a quick overview. It's not very quick, but I'm going to try to make a long story as short as I can. But like I said, if you want the details, let me know in the comments and I'll definitely do a video about the whole thing. Today I wanted to share how I feel today, 26 years later. I feel so blessed. And I feel so lucky to be alive. And I also wanted to give you ways that you can support anyone in your life who currently is undergoing cancer treatment. So as I look back over the past 26 years, surviving cancer has made me understand the importance of the people in your life and how experiences and memories and relationships you build with those people is all that really matters. It's not the stuff you own, how big your house is, how you dress or how you look, but the people you have in your life, that's what's important. So, a brief summary into the long story. Basically, my husband and I did not have health insurance during that time. We were both young and healthy and needed money for groceries and rent more than we felt like we needed to pay for health insurance. I was a stay-at-home mom of 2 adorable children who meant the world to me. My husband was just starting his own computer technology services company, and we just didn't have a spare dime at that time. Like I said, long story short, my wonderful urologist, the one who found and skillfully removed the tumor, and ultimately the one I credit with saving my life, found me a radiologist who would allow me to make payments forever if needed, and an oncologist who worked at County Hospital, which is where people go who don't have health insurance. Both of those doctors he chose were fantastic. Again, another long story short, after lots and lots of deliberation, we decided to hit the cancer hard. Even though everyone felt like the tumor was removed, the borders were clear, no lymph nodes were affected. The tumor did break through the bladder wall, so they were concerned about random wandering cancer cells, free radicals. I was young and strong, and they wanted to give me the best chance possible at beating this. So I did 6 weeks of radiation while also doing 6 months of intense chemotherapy simultaneously. So remember, this was 1995. The internet was a different experience at that time, and finding information was hard. I had to trust that my doctor would figure out the best course of action. My doctors had to actually call other doctors. There was no email, there was no fast way to communicate back then, really. You had to call. My tumor was sent to different places, and several teams of doctors came up with my treatment plan. 6 weeks of radiation, 6 months of chemo, starting immediately. My husband and I, we ended up with a huge debt. Did you know the county system can't refuse service to you, but they charge you full price for every single thing? And they hound you until you pay. They actually sent us to collections while I was undergoing treatment. I didn't even want to think about how to start paying those bills. I was trying to stay alive, and it was crazy. Anyways, that's a whole other story. We tried to get financial assistance, but because I was white and married and my husband had a little bit of income, we did not qualify for anything. That's another story that maybe I'll share sometime. Anyways, moving on. My kids were 6 and 4 at the time of my treatment. They were young enough to not be too freaked out about the whole thing, but old enough to realize that mommy was pretty sick. They were my reason for fighting. I could not leave them. I knew that I would use every single ounce of my courage to fight that cancer. Thank goodness we had a wonderful church family who helped care for them, brought us meals, and basically gave me the strength to fight. For those of you who are religious, have you ever felt prayers? Have you ever felt the people you love praying for you? I never had until that time, but let me tell you, it was the best feeling ever. It's super hard to explain, but it kind of feels like a healing and calming sensation over your whole body. It gave my heart a sense of ease and a sense of protection, if that makes any sense. The prayers helped my faith stay strong. I had faith that I would survive this disease. I knew that if I stayed positive, kept my faith, and just fought hard, I could beat it. I really did believe it. I was very sick through the treatment, but I tried to keep my life as normal as possible. Other than the 1 week each month that I had my chemo treatment, of course. During the other 3 weeks of the month, I still took my kids to their after-school activities. I volunteered in their classrooms and all the other mom and wife things that people do. I took a lot of naps to make it through the day, but I did it. I had a pump plugged into me for 1 week out of each month. It kind of looked like a Walkman. And now that I say that, I realize that many of you have no idea what a Walkman is. But basically a portable little device, about 4 inches by 2 or 3 inches, that was hooked onto me via a tube that fed the chemo from a pump into my arm. I had a PICC line. It was in my elbow here, so the pump had a tube that would basically feed directly into my arm. They did that because having to poke you each time to make a line, I guess, it's very difficult and your veins can collapse. Anyways, long story short, at the end, I had that 1 week a month, and at the end of the week, the pump would be removed and the line would be removed, and then I put a bandage over the PICC line. Chemo kills good cells as well as cancer cells, and in between treatments, your body needs to try to build back up. So as soon as the pump was removed each time, my body would start to rebuild, just so we could do it all over again the following month. Towards the end of my treatment, my body was not rebuilding fast enough, so I had to give myself shots to help build the white blood cells back up. They were so painful. I made my husband give them to me. I think he secretly enjoyed it. No, I don't think he did. He didn't want me in pain. Anyways, it was the same cycle each month for 6 months. The longest 6 months of my life. I was only doing radiation for the first 6 weeks. And to be honest, I don't think I had any side effects from the radiation. Or maybe I did, but because the chemo made me so sick, I didn't really notice the radiation side effects. Anyways, I had joined a cancer support group, which was very helpful. It helps to talk to others who understand and have been through the same thing. It was inspiring to see people who have been through 2 to 3 bouts of cancer, and they are still, they're still alive and well and living life. It helped me see that there could be life after cancer. By the end of my treatment, I had lost so much weight, and to be honest, I felt like death warmed over. But I kept going because I had to. I didn't give myself the option not to. It was a rough 6 months of treatment, but once I was done, I focused on life after cancer and tried not to think about what I had been through. Post-treatment, every few months you go see doctors for blood work, exams, x-rays. It's to make sure you're okay, but it makes it impossible to really forget. After my chemo pump was removed that last time, I never looked back, but constantly looked forward. I focused on making every minute of every day a positive one. I wanted to create lots of memories with my family and friends. I realized that if you wait for the perfect time to do something, you'll never do anything. Timing is never perfect. You never have enough money. You never live in the right place. The circumstances are never perfect. So if you have something that you want to make happen, make it happen. You know, time is something you can't get back. If you waste time waiting for that perfect time, you're going to regret it later. Go out and experience things. Spend time with people. Do the things that make those around you happy. Make yourself happy. We didn't have any extra money at that time, but we planned family vacations, sent the kids to camp, and other things. And we always found a way to pay for it, one way or another. You know, you sacrifice one thing for another. And to me, I wanted those experiences for my kids. And I wanted my kids' life to be as normal as possible, regardless of what was going on with us, health-wise or financially. Anyways, if there's an important someone in your life who you've lost contact with, reconnect with them, forgive them, heal what's broken. People are important. My life's focus now is to look at the glass half full. Always try to find the positive in any situation. Give people the benefit of the doubt and be there for others when they need it most. Speaking of being there, if someone you love has cancer, be there for them in whatever way they need. I had quite a few friends who avoided me completely throughout the treatment, and that made me really sad. I understand it made them uncomfortable, and maybe they didn't know how to help or what to say. So I've come up with a list for you. So this is basically a slideshow presentation about what to say, what not to say, basically how to help support your family member or your friend who has cancer. I think that this will give you an idea of coming from a cancer patient perspective, the best way to not only approach subjects, but what to say, what not to say, what to do, what not to do, that sort of thing. These are my honest, raw feelings. You don't have to agree with me, but I hope that you do. So, first I'm going to go through a few things I suggest that you do not do or do not say. Okay, the first one. Don't tell them you know how they feel. Because unless you've heard those 3 words, you've got cancer, you have no idea. I don't mean to be rude, but the cancer patient knows that you have no idea, and it just makes them feel like you are diminishing or trying to lessen the whole whirlwind of emotions that they're going through. Until someone faces the cancer diagnosis firsthand, you really have no idea the feeling of dread and fear that you feel deep inside your core. You know, my husband will tell you he felt that also, but it's not the same thing. Yes, he was probably terrified to lose me, and his fears were probably very real, but not the same as facing the potential horrible outcome yourself. And it takes a lot to choose to purposely allow yourself to be poisoned, fully knowing how horrible you're going to feel, just hoping that the treatment works. So, yeah, that's really a bad thing to say. And another thing you should not do, don't try to recommend special vitamins or foods they should eat based on some random research you've done. Or, your aunt had this kind of cancer and she drank this juice and it cured her, that sort of thing. They need to listen to their doctors. They need to trust their doctors. I'm not saying you can't talk about things that other people did, but don't make them feel pressured to try any of it. They need to feel comfortable with the treatment plan that they have made with their doctors. And don't contradict anything that the doctors have recommended either. They need to believe in their doctor. They need to believe that the treatment is working. I truly believe that 95% of the reason I am alive today is because I believed in my team of doctors. I had faith that I would beat the cancer. I believed that the treatment was working. I believed I was going to get a miracle. And I believed that the prayers from my friends and family would work. I really 100% believe that. Yes, you have to also follow the regimen that the doctor puts, but you have to have belief in your head. Your mind is a very powerful thing. Don't avoid your loved ones. I'm not saying be a pest, but reach out. If you are not comfortable with the whole situation, take a deep breath, step out of your comfort zone, because it's not about you right now. They're not comfortable either, and they need people to reach out to them. I have people in my life that avoided me during that whole time, and 26 years later, it still hurts to think about that. So reach out. You may be uncomfortable, but that's okay. They're more uncomfortable than you are. So, don't avoid these people. Also, don't avoid talking about the cancer. They may not want to talk about any details, and they may not want to talk about it at all. But if they do, listen. It's hard enough to lay there feeling horrible and worrying about this disease that's trying to kill you. Then someone comes to visit, and you're afraid to talk about the cancer because you're afraid your visitor will freak out. They need to be able to say the things that they want to say. And if it means talking about the cancer, then talk about it with them. You don't have to drill them with questions. Just be open to talking about it if they want to. Okay, next. Don't act like everything is normal, because it's definitely not. They have cancer, and that is their reality at the moment. Life is not normal for them in any sense of the word. Don't tell them they look great. They know they don't. It just makes them more conscious about how sick they think they look. It's funny. You think, oh, I'm going to be nice and say they look nice, or I'll compliment on their whatever. Oh, you're glowing today. I used to get that a lot. I was glowing because my face was all red from the chemo. It wasn't because of a sun glow from being outside and having a great day. You don't want to be constantly reminded that you're sick. I guess that's one way to put it, I guess. Don't tell them that everything will be fine. Oh, don't worry about it. You'll be fine. It's going to be great. The patient knows that the odds are not always in their favor. And even if they do every single thing the doctor says, it might not end well. And by saying it's going to be fine, it reminds them that maybe it won't be fine. So I know these things sound kind of counterintuitive, But from being on the other end and receiving all these kinds of comments from people, I just wanted to share that with you because it can really, I don't know what the word is, not upset them. It just makes them feel bad. And you don't want to make them feel bad. You want to be there for them and uplift your friends and family, right? So anyways, it's not all about what not to say or do either. I also have some things I think you should say and do. So let's go through those real quick. Okay, some things you should do. Allow them to cry, to be sad, to maybe complain about treatment or whatever. You don't need to have any solutions at all. Just be there. Just listen. You know, everyone needs someone to lean on. And if you're going to be that person that day, great. Be a strong shoulder for them. Do tell them about your family and things you've been doing. Have some normal conversations too. I know that I loved hearing what my friends were doing and hearing about their kids, and it helps you stop thinking about just what you're going through, and have a normal conversation with your friend. That's necessary. Do tell them how brave and strong you think they are, and that you admire them for fighting so hard. Give them support to keep going. Encouragement is always a good thing. And, don't overly do it. Don't make it fake, but just be encouraging. Be a good friend. Do reach out to them to see if they need help with errands, grocery shopping, get gas in their car, pick up the kids from school, etc. For most of us, it's very hard to ask for help. But these things that you can easily do would be a very big chore for them if they're weak and not feeling well. I almost passed out at the grocery store one time during my cancer treatment. I never told my husband that because he would have never let me go again. I wanted to do normal things, but sometimes it's just not realistic, and sometimes it's just too hard. Yeah, that was eye-opening. Anyways, it's so easy for you to run into a store and grab a few things for them. And I guess what I'm saying is it may not be easy for them to run into the store and grab a few things. So offer to do those things. Okay. Do offer to bring meals. Relieving the family from having to worry about cooking and cleaning up is a huge help. If you do decide to do this, ask them if there's any foods to avoid, something that they all don't like or whatever. Don't bring anything with strong smells. Smells definitely are hard on people going through chemo. It makes you very overly sensitive to smells. And ask if there's something special that they'd really like to have. I remember one person brought Happy Meals for my kids, and oh my God, they were thrilled. Such a silly little thing, but it made my kids so happy. So think about that if you want to bring meals to their family. And do offer to babysit, take the kids to the park, entertain them in some way. This may not sound like much, and it may sound like kind of like a little thing, but when I knew my kids were having fun and not just sitting there watching TV, trying not to bother mommy, that was huge. I knew that they were being kids and having a normal day instead of sitting in the other room trying to be quiet. So I really appreciated when my friends would come pick up the kids and take them, to do things. Another thing you can do is offer to go with them for their treatment, or even just giving them rides. I was unable to drive to my treatments towards the end because they made the treatments, I was just so sick. Luckily, my husband was able to take me to most of them. I think he took me to all of them at the end. There was just no way. I would get sick on the way home. It was terrible. But, if you have someone that needs rides, give them a ride. Or just go with them, keep them company. It's amazing what that does for someone's morale. Also, offer to help clean the house or hire a crew to come in and do it. schedule it for a time that they're out of the house, not while they're there. You know, like a time that they're at treatment or whatever. They go for a ride with, you know, their spouse or something in the car while you're doing it, whatever. A friend arranged this for me, and it was fantastic because I couldn't really clean. I really couldn't. I tried, and you know, sometimes it's just nice for someone to do this for you. Anyways, next is do send cards and letters. But be careful of flowers with strong scents. Like I said before, scents sometimes make people on chemo feel sick. To this day, there are still certain scents that make me feel ill. Like sweet vanilla does it to me almost every time. It makes me feel nauseous. It was just crazy. This is so many years later. Balloons or stuffed animals are great. For me, mainly it was because it would bring joy to my kids, but also it was something that lasted a little longer. I remember a friend brought me some warm, cozy socks and a soft, like, blanket throw. And those were so comforting to me, and it was things that I really treasured because that person thought about me and what I really needed at that time. So that was really sweet. So do some personal things for them. It's easy just to call up and order some flowers, but it's not really the best gift all the time. And do offer to visit, but don't be offended if they don't want company or can't talk on the phone. I had such horrible nausea and headaches that concentrating on anything made me feel ill. Even talking on the phone was sometimes too much. Don't take it personally. They love to hear from you, but sometimes you just can't. And do be patient with them. Try to understand that they probably feel horrible and are working really hard just to hold it all together. You know, it's really hard to explain how horrible you feel when every ounce of your body is rebelling against you, and you really want to be happy, and you really want to be a gracious host, and you really want to talk to your friends, etc., but you just can't. So anyways, let's move on. Do make yourself available to help in any way, especially if you have said, let me know if you need anything. If they actually reach out and ask for something after you have said that, it's because they really need it. You need to make it happen. It takes a lot to ask for help. Don't say it if you don't mean it. I'm not kidding. This is a really big deal. I tell people that, and then I follow it up by telling them I really mean it. If you need something, you can call me, and I will do whatever possible to make that happen for you, whatever it is that you need. And you need to have that frame of mind when you tell someone that, because if they are actually going to ask you for help and then you say, oh, I can't today, I have to go wash my hair, or oh, I'm so sorry, I can't do that, blah, blah, blah. They're never ever going to ask you again, and they really probably need your help at that moment. So don't say it if you don't mean it. Now, if you've never said that and they ask you to do something, then okay, that's a different story. But I'm just saying, if you have told them to let you know if you need something, and they're letting you know that they need something, you need to make it happen. So anyways, that's my list. I hope it helps you. I hope it helps you deal with your loved ones who are undergoing cancer treatment, or even if they're not going under treatment, if they're just not feeling well. And cancer is not like any other disease. It's basically your body trying to kill you from inside. So it's pretty bad. I know there's other diseases that are like that, but I don't know. It's terrible. Anyways, moving on. Now I want to talk about the odds. Everyone always asks about the odds. What are my odds of surviving? How long will I live, etc.? You should not listen to the odds. According to the USC Norris Cancer Center, where my cancer was submitted to their tumor board of experts, I was given a 20 to 30% chance of living 6 months. Thank God I didn't know about this. No one told me. And the only reason I found out about it was because my urologist retired and I was able to get my medical records and I read through them. Keep in mind, every person is different. Every situation is different. What works for one person may not work for another. Every treatment will affect each person in a different way. There is no one right or wrong way to proceed. Everyone needs to stay positive, though. Doom and gloom will do nothing for anyone. I felt like giving up at several points, but that feeling never lasted very long. I'd see my kids' sweet faces and knew that I had to stay strong and fight with every ounce of my being, and that's exactly what I was going to do. They needed me, and I needed to be okay. And I am okay. The cancer did not return, knock on wood. After 7 to 10 years, they say your odds of getting cancer are the same as the general public. So that was good news. Anyways, I do have some nerve damage and a few other things that are side effects from my treatment, but I'll trade that anytime for the alternative. I can go on with my daily, day-to-day life. I can do normal life activities and enjoy life as I see fit. My kids are now grown, and they've each chosen wonderful people to spend the rest of their lives with, and grandkids are now additional ones for me to love. It's funny, I wrote a journal during chemo that I've read recently. That was eye-opening. Anyways, one of my long-term goals was to be alive and well to see my kids find the loves of their lives and to create memories with my grandchildren. So that's what I'm working on. People tease me because I take a lot of photos, but photos are memories. Memories are so important. If you lose a loved one, those photos and the memories that go along with them are what's left. If someone asks to take a photo of you or with you, just humor them and do it. Be happy that they want to remember this moment with you. I want to leave you with one last thought. Life is short and you never know what tomorrow brings. Make the most out of every single moment and treasure every single relationship you have. Thank you so much for listening and watching. I know this was a very long video. I tried to cover a lot of things and hopefully something I said will inspire you or help you in the future. Feel free to share this with anyone who may need to hear my message. Thanks again.